Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny. That is Dylan. That is Salad. Time for another episode of Bat Watch.
Bat Watch.
Oh, yeah, that's how we do it. Bat Watch. Okay, so Batman versus Superman was the next in line.
No.
Following
Batman v Superman.
right,
yes.
my
It's
bad.
like
It
a
wasn't
court
actually
case.
a verse. It's a court case.
Well, it kind of is.
Yeah.
I looked because I was going to watch the theatrical version just to have that experience again. Because I remember the theatrical version for me not being great. It was weirdly edited. It was condensed down. Things didn't line up. Could not find it. Ended up watching the Ultimate Edition again, which I do remember on a rewatch years ago. I enjoyed.
yeah.
I am gonna say I actually really enjoyed rewatching this as the Ultimate Edition. A lot of things being separated from everything made a lot more sense. And in context of the movie, when I'm not trying to compare it to the MCU, I really enjoyed. Quick note, I'm also a fan of the Snyder Works. So, I'm that guy. And I've also seen and read what Zack Snyder was going to do with Justice League 2 and 3. So the overall context all makes total sense now.
Right.
So I really enjoyed this. And I am going to go out there before I move to you two. Martha makes sense in context of the movie working the way it did. I think it does 100%. I'm just going to throw it out there now.
It doesn't.
Okay?
Let's
We'll
address,
come back to that. We'll come back to that.
let's
We'll come
address
back
the
to that.
Martha in the room. Let's deal with that now. Let's
The
get
one
up-
thing
up-
everyone talks about.
Everybody
Let's get
talks
out
about
of
it.
the way.
I think the problem with the Martha is it became the meme.
Yeah.
And because it became a
Yeah.
meme,
Which is why
you
it's
can't
like
help
it's
but
hard.
laugh at it.
It's hard to criticize it now because you get to that scene and you're like, oh, here it is. Here's the Martha scene.
Yeah. It's
But,
the easiest joke I could possibly make.
Yeah, which is why, but we have to talk about it. For me, it's just bad writing. It's like, it's the culmination of their whole fight just needing to happen because
Yes.
the writers wanted it to, and Superman could have easily, earlier in the fight, 20 minutes ago, been like, hey, they have my mom.
Yeah.
Because that's what that moment is.
That is my problem. That right
That's
there.
the
Go ahead,
problem.
Sal.
No,
Yeah.
just that's the problem. The problem is the fight is predicated on faulty. It requires your protagonists to be dummies in order
Yes.
for the
Both
thing
of them.
to happen. And regardless of that, for me, the Martha thing, it didn't shake me down to my core when it first happened, but I knew that they both had mothers named Martha. I just remembered that being oh my God, that's right. But, and I remember Benny actually explaining it where he's like, this is a thing that happens, if you hear a trigger, it'll trigger PTSD and it'll make you I'm like, right on, you know what? Fair. The thing is, I'm so sick of it because of the memeing and the jokes. It was immediate. We saw this movie, Benny and I saw this movie in the theaters on opening night in Disney Springs or whatever it's called in LA or Anaheim. And I remember being like, that was fun or whatever. Or
Yeah, I enjoyed it a little bit.
but
the theatrical one just had weird cuts. That's the problem.
It was chopped, you could tell. But the Martha thing just never stopped. It started that night and it just never stopped. And it's just ugh.
The problem with Martha, rewatching that fight, Superman just gets out of a situation with Lex. He's like, he literally says to Lois, this isn't the Ultimate Edition, so if this is not the theatrical, I apologize.
Right.
But in the Ultimate Edition,
remember the
he
difference.
immediately goes to Lois and says, I have to go convince him or I have to kill him.
Yeah,
Those are
he
the
says
two
that
options.
in the other version too.
Yeah. I had the two options, and he shows up and he tries to talk to Bruce immediately. And this is where my problem comes in with this scene. The overall Martha reveal isn't that big of a deal. It's that Superman shows up and says, "Bruce, we have to talk."
Yeah.
And then Bruce uses a weapon on him, and Superman, in the time he's walking forward, doesn't explain anything.
Now, it is loud.
Because I remember people saying when this movie came out, and I've only watched. This is the second time I've watched this movie. This is the first time I've watched the Ultimate Edition. And I remember people defending it by saying, "Well, Superman did try. He tried to explain himself to Batman, but
he could have picked up Batman
it
and
starts
flown
off that
him
way.
into the sky and been
Superman
no.
walks up to Batman without saying anything and pushes him across.
Yes,
No, well,
that's my point. He
fairness-
doesn't walk up. He doesn't walk up to Batman and hold him and be like,
No.
"I'm going to."
In
talk.
fairness, when he says you don't understand, and then Batman goes, "I understand," he's screaming in his face, and I'd be like,
knocks him out.
I'd push him a little bit too if I were that point. And like, he barely pushed him, but that's enough to knock him across the freaking yard.
Right.
And that's just it. You're showing up to try and convince a guy in full body armor with multiple weapons
who's
to help
got the whole place rigged to kill you.
The whole thing is set up. And you also know from your research that Lex has now tricked him into thinking you're the bad guy.
Right.
And you're going to walk up to him, and after all of that, instead of just saying, now, can we talk for 2 minutes before we fight?
Right.
He
Right.
throws him into a wall. Of course Batman's going to retaliate.
Yeah, no,
with
the
a bunch
reality
more.
is the fight needed to happen because that's what the movie is. That's
Yeah, the
what the
movie is
director
called
is.
that.
It's called that. You need it. You can't have two rational characters behave in a way that circumvents it. It's not like Death to Smoochie where it's like, oh no, I thought the character was going to die at the end. Like, no, this is a movie where you have to have Batman and Superman fight. And it's a movie that has been in development forever. Like, even before this movie, they were going to make a Batman-Superman fighting movie before that. So it's like, they were always going to have Batman and Superman fight, and people wanted to see that forever. And, so it's like, there you go. It needs to happen. And these people need to be dummy-dumbs in order to make it happen.
It also... in this scene right here actually reminds me of a lot of other problems with this movie, other than Lex. Lex is my biggest actual issue, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But a lot of other things that people like to nitpick is just comic book logic that in the comics we go, hoo-hoo, and we ignore.
Right.
Like people stating how close Gotham and Metropolis are. People brought that up
They
in my
made that
tweet.
up. That's made up for this movie,
Yeah,
which I did
But
not
even if
care
it's made up
for.
for the movie,
But
even
who
if it's made
cares?
up for the movie, that's still just comic book logic. Oh, they're conveniently close enough for the sake of this movie.
That is the problem with the criticism of this movie is that the criticisms are like superficial at best on a normal level. Like the problem with this movie isn't the proximity of Gotham and Metropolis. It isn't the
doesn't
use
matter.
of the name Martha. The fact that that's like one of the few comic book accurate things in this movie is the fact that their mothers are both named Martha. But like it's the way in which the characters behave and the way the story is executed. Like
It's like almost everything about, like, especially Superman, but almost everything about every character in this like movie is wrong. And I
Right.
like, and that immediately calls like oh, how important is accuracy in a story? And
Right.
like, sure, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, but like, you're still telling a story about Batman and Superman, who are characters that pre-exist and have core tenets to their storytelling. And it's just like even in this context here, if you're telling a story where Superman wants to talk to Batman first, why would he be so quick to stop having that MO where he's just going to beat the living shit out of Batman?
Superman
and he doesn't just throw him back and just say, now we
No,
need
then
to
they
talk.
fight.
Yeah, then they just
He's
fight.
throwing him in it.
No, and like Superman at every point when Kryptonite is not being deployed, Superman has the opportunity to take Batman to a pasture somewhere many states away and
Like he does
explain
with
things to him.
Doomsday later in the movie.
Right. Doomsday being in this movie is the most egregious thing.
Yeah, ridiculous. This movie was
He really
5
is just a
acts.
control.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does. It just keeps going. It's so
Yeah.
ridiculous. But like there's and I get what you're saying about the characters acting weird, because like this whole movie on Superman's perspective is Superman trying to figure out who Batman is and why we need to stop things like Batman, but also at the same time he's having a crisis that he doesn't feel at home and doesn't know what he should do as Superman.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he's dealing with Lois and his mom. And on top of that, like
Yeah, well,
the
we're also
problem with this-
introducing Batman and his whole world, and Lex and his whole world. Like,
Right.
we're
Right.
introducing
And
a
Wonder
lot of
Woman.
stuff. And Wonder
while
Woman.
throwing in the
Doomsday.
existence of Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg,
Yeah.
and keeping Wonder Woman in the loop. Part of the problem with this movie is Zack Snyder just got too big. I like this
he's
movie,
trying to do everything.
and I don't think the characters truly act out of character. I think the problem with this is he took a different approach, very much an Injustice style approach,
Yeah.
which is a fan favorite, but it's not the mainline continuity.
And that's the thing, right?
issue.
Like, people have been waiting for a Batman and Superman team-up movie forever, and then they got one, and it was the Dark Knight Returns
it's
/ Injustice
nothing.
version, and it's like, so there's no template, right? There's no basis. I think that's the main reason why a lot of comic book fans and fans of the characters in pop culture have an issue with this movie, as opposed to like just blindly enjoying it. And it's because they're like, well, now this is the baseline. Like there's no foundation. Now this is the one that everyone is aware of, and it's not a derivation. Now it's the standard. And that's really, for me, like that's my main issue with this movie overall.
I agree. That's like one of the notes I have about this movie in general is just that it's a miserable movie, and not like to say that it's awful, like technically, but it just is sad and exhausting and depressing.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's all about Batman's at the end of his rope. Superman wants to give up on humanity.
Right,
Wonder Woman wants nothing to do with anyone.
We just met Superman one movie ago, and he's like miserable. Like that scene, and you can tell like that it's so Zack Snyder. It like makes me puke. Where he's surrounded by people, and they're all trying to touch him, and he has that look on his face, like
freak half the time.
And I'm like, dude, you live here, you were raised here, you know what this is. Like you're not new.
You're human.
But another issue I think that this movie has a problem with. It's like Zack's, because I don't know if you guys read it, but he has a template for Justice League 2 and 3, and you could read the plot.
I didn't read it,
and I've read it. I did read it, and actually all of this would have made sense as a great Injustice-style universe.
Right.
All of this would have worked together, and a lot of context in here, like the Flash popping in and things like that would have worked. I think part of the problem is, instead of at the time us getting a Superman movie, a Batman movie, a Wonder Woman movie, which kind of built up everyone's lore, then they all came together.
Right.
We went from Superman to Batman versus Superman, but Zack Snyder still had an idea of this DCEU that he wanted to make, which involved all these characters. So he, like you said, he's trying to do way too much in one movie.
Doing too much.
Doomsday could have been a movie. Batman versus Superman could have been a movie. Batman fighting against the Russian mob could have been a movie.
Yeah, all of these are movies.
The especially the big thing here with like when you have, if you want to have your take on Superman be that he's a miserable alien weirdo, cool, but you can't also make Batman that.
Right. you need a foil. I will
exactly.
Tell you, man, by the way, really quick, Warner's has been trying to make a miserable, like, alone alien Superman movie since Chris Reeves stopped being Superman. Like, every version of Superman, they're like,
well, was Superman Reborn like that too?
Superman Reborn, like, every incarnation, except for Superman Flyby, is a Superman movie where it's like, but he's all alone. And isn't that sad?
Well,
and I'm like, who cares?
I mean, if you remember the New 52, when the comic books relaunched in 2011, that was Superman for 5 years.
Like super edgy.
Yeah,
and like I made a video way back when in like 2016 or something where my whole thesis of it was Superman is more interesting as a villain. And this was coming from the perspective of someone who has only really seen Superman movies and hasn't really read that many Superman comics. I didn't get it back then. Now I get it. Like now I get like what value there is in having a hopeful Superman, like actual Clark Kent as he stands. And I had a really long conversation with a friend of mine who hasn't read any Superman comics and hasn't seen like Tyler Hoechlin version of Superman in live action. And he was like, why is that Superman interesting? Like, why is Goody Two-Shoes super? Like, how do you make that work? And I talked to him for like 2 hours about how it works and why it works. And I came out the other end like, Superman's really cool. And nobody gets it in Hollywood.
No, they don't. They all want him to be edgy.
Yeah.
So I actually really enjoyed this movie because like the problem is if you take it for what it is, it's a comic book movie. He likes comics, you want to make a comic book movie. So we have if you allow for a lot of things to get thrown out, he likes quite a few of them because they're all in this
Dark Knight
movie.
Returns.
The Death of Superman, Dark Knight Returns
he seems
is
like
in
the kind
here.
of person who likes Star Trek because there's lasers in it.
Yeah. He likes the idea.
What I'm saying is like there's a lot of things that a lot of the complaints I see about this movie is one, the characters acting out of character, out of character depending on your version. We're talking about characters that have existed for 60 years.
Right.
Do you like Dark Knight Returns Batman or do you want All-Star Batman? What do you want?
That's the same Batman.
That's
okay. The Batman Incorporated Batman. Happy?
In a vacuum, this Batman as like a version of Dark Knight Returns Batman is pretty good. Like, in a vacuum.
Affleck, great casting.
Yeah.
Suits, both suits are
so
dope looking.
They look great.
And Affleck's approach of like a 45, 50-year-old Batman is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that
He's
really
done.
works.
He doesn't care. And I love Alfred being there the whole time like he normally is, being like, Alfred's the only one that cares about the Wayne family. Batman cares about Batman.
Yeah, that's straight out of the book. But also, I like Jeremy Irons as Alfred. Like, I was so sad to lose him after this.
There's so many good actors in this movie.
Yeah, but he's a great.
Who's the actor that played Perry? The guy that plays Perry's great. can't remember
What is
his
his
name.
name? Lawrence
Okay, it is
that's
Fishburne?
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's the guy from Matrix, but he has hair
It is.
here, and I don't think he had hair over there. That's throwing me off.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. No, he's
That's
great.
the thing is like it's the same like it goes all the way down to Henry Cavill. Like it's great casting that's just misused. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
he's great. I feel bad because I love Henry Cavill as Superman, and I was reminded, I'm like, you're really good. I wish you were happy. But his Clark Kent is just The Rock in a Superman costume. Like, okay, Lois, I'm gonna go do
His
the
Clark
business
Kent
now. I'm
doesn't-
like, you're not even
I don't buy it.
trying to fit in. He's like, why would I fit in? I'm freaking awesome looking, and I'm buff. I want
Yeah.
people to see my rippling muscles. Why would I wear these?
He
dorky
looks
glasses?
incredible.
Like, dude, try a little bit to play that guy, but why would I? Because I'm so buff. Like that's what Snyder wants you to see, right? Is like all these like strong men being strong men.
Yes, Snyder doesn't care about Clark Kent.
I'm confused. Does anybody else like? I remember just being like kind of blown away. I'm like, to prep for the fight, Bruce Wayne does CrossFit. Wouldn't that exhaust him before the fight?
Yeah, I had the same
Yeah,
thought.
100%. As a guy who likes to work out a lot and try new workouts, I don't know why, like, unless he's done that so much, because you can, with workouts, like a great example is this. When I used to bike, I go for biking for like an hour, okay?
Yeah.
And that used to burn like 800 to 1,000 calories, and I'd come back exhausted. Now I go bike for an hour, and it's more of just a casual thing,
Right.
and I burn like 300 calories. So you do condition your body to these things. So I'm assuming Batman is just super conditioned to CrossFit.
Yeah, but he's just like
what he does every day.
You don't work out as hard as you can and then go run a marathon.
No.
Yeah.
You-
Exactly,
You,
you
work
don't.
out as hard as you can for a year and then go run the marathon. It's just like I don't know. It just for me, I was
Maybe
like,
this was like
this
a
is just-
week before.
right? I can't tell the time in this movie, but
No.
That's, I think, one of my complaints. Even in the Ultimate Edition, there's an editing thing where they like to jump around time periods
Yeah.
to kind of like, gotcha, you didn't know what was happening in the same time. And I'm like,
Okay.
I get it. Stop doing it. The most egregious for me is when they're at the funeral at the ending, actually.
yeah.
You go to the funeral at the ending, and they're having a talk,
yeah.
Bruce Wayne and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And he says something like, yeah, I know something's coming. Then she talks for a minute. Then we cut to Lex in the cell. Batman gets the information. Then we cut back to the cemetery. And I'm like, oh, so that was a flashback, but weird editing decision to show us that that's how we got the information at this point.
agreed. Yes.
Can we talk about Jimmy Olsen?
The Jimmy Olsen thing, I remember being really upset about it earlier, but now I couldn't care less. Like because it's
I just think, like,
such
the-
a different universe. Like, 'cause I remember in Man of Steel they made it Jenny Olsen, and then I guess people were really upset, so they made it. So then he put Jimmy in this.
The reason it bothers me is because I feel like it encapsulates everything that's wrong with every character in Snyder's interpretation of this, is because it's just
Okay.
like, here's a character from the comics that's only this character in name and name alone. And
Yes.
it's like, it's also like, why? It just feels disrespectful to the whole, because the way that I saw it is like,
Well, that's
here-
what Warner Brothers does, though. I mean, go all the way back to
Yeah.
Cassie in Birds of Prey. They just take a name
Sure.
so you recognize
Yeah,
the
but
name.
this,
like,
felt,
this-
felt vindictive because it was
Yeah,
like 'cause I remember he made-
exactly.
yeah, because
'Cause
he
it
made Jenny Olsen, and people were like, "What? Female Jimmy Olsen? That's outrageous!" And he was like, "Oh yeah, okay, fine." And then made Jimmy Olsen. He's like, "He's a badass and he's a CIA operative." And then he's
No.
dead. Now you don't want to hear about him anymore.
No. It's the way that I read it this time is because I didn't even like first time I saw this movie, I didn't even clock that. Like I wasn't paying
No,
attention.
me
I
too. I
guess.
missed it the first time.
Yeah. But this time
I
I'm like,
didn't either until I
right.
saw complaints online about
Me
it.
too.
Oh, that was Jimmy?
Yeah, me too. Me too. It was
And this
that
time I'm
unimportant.
watching it. I'm like, huh. Jimmy Olsen is a character that really represents the innocence and kind of hope and joy of the Superman character. And now he's a CIA agent and gets murdered. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
so that's what Snyder thinks about Superman. Got it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Overall, I don't. Before I go into my overall thoughts on this movie, let's
Yeah.
go. The elephant in the room. The worst part of this movie, the worst casting, the worst character portrayal, everything.
Mark Zuckerberg.
What
Is Max
yes.
Landis as Lex?
He doesn't sound like Lex. He doesn't act
No.
like Lex.
This is
It-
just
it
Jesse
just-
Eisenberg. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was such a weird casting choice to make him, and and they tried to correct it by making him more serious and toned down, and like Justice League, and shaved his head at the end of this. But I'm like, why did you go to that length? Like,
Yeah. I
just
don't know.
it's the same like
trying to
super
modernize
frustrating-
Lex. Lex is already modernized. He's a
Yeah.
wealthy businessman who has his hands in everything.
Yeah.
There's also like the weird stuff about like I know he has this like strange relationship with his dad. That's always a thing about his character, but he's like obsessed in this movie.
It's really weird how angry
yeah,
he
it's
is
very
about his dad.
strange. And there's like cool stuff. Like there's kind of like I like the scene at the end where he's all freaked out. Like I don't like that it's Lex Luthor who's being freaked out about Darkseid and all that.
Yeah.
But I think that's like in a vacuum that scene's kind of interesting and cool.
I like his interactions with the senator. I liked the whole grandma
the
sweet tea
peach
thing.
the peach tea.
I
or
like
whatever.
the painting, the flipped painting thing.
The painting
That's kind
was
of fun.
cool. That was a neat idea.
Calling back to that at the end of the movie is neat. It's like
There's a lot of
no.
ideas in here
Yeah.
that would really work with Lex if you just got a different actor to sell it. Because that's what I was thinking the whole time I'm watching it. Jesse Eisenberg's voice doesn't even match any portrayal of Lex we've ever had.
No.
His appearance
It's
doesn't
crazy
fit
that-
any portrayal of Lex we've ever had. And so I think that's what the problem is. It's not that I think Jesse Eisenberg as a villain was great.
Yeah.
Calling
Yeah,
him
Jesse Eisenberg
Lex
is
was
great.
the problem.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah,
great
it's not Lex
Riddler
Luthor.
in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't even think he was a good Riddler.
No.
I think like they need like he make a new villain. Don't call him Lex.
That would've been
You know what I
weird.
think it would have been great? What if he
Yeah,
was
that would've been
Toyman?
strange.
What if he was Thinker?
Okay,
What if he was like
Toyman or something like that would have been neat, but also really weird and out of place. Like,
Well, yeah, but I agree. And if you're going to do Lex, just get a giant big guy with bald head. You know what I mean? Like there's so many actors.
Like, it's just, I don't know.
He needs to look like a businessman, and he
Just-
looks like he's Mark
do
Zuckerberg.
John
well, he wants
Cryer.
to do that too.
I know that wasn't a thing yet, but
But he clearly does want to do like a Zuckerberg kind of thing, right? Because
Yeah.
like when we see LexCorp and the party, you know, it's like, oh, okay, like you're the smartest person in the room.
I really enjoy Jesse Eisenberg. I've seen a lot of him. The Social Network is one of my favorite
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a great actor in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I say that, and he kind of just plays the same character with
Yes.
varying levels of
Intensity
like
or
crazy.
whatever. Yeah.
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 So and in here we're mostly just getting like a blend of his character in Social Network and Now You See Me, and then it's Lex Luthor somehow, and that just doesn't work.
Right. Yeah, no, it's really weird. It's weird. The lollipop scene was like,
Yeah.
I was like,
So over-
at that
so
moment,
my
I'm sorry,
over-
Jolly Rancher. And I was like, okay,
Oh, yeah.
I'm done.
Putting it in the guy's mouth.
Yeah,
Like
like I get it,
that
but also
didn't feel
what?
like Lex. Lex wouldn't do that. That's more my problem. And I think it adds to the every character just doesn't feel like the comic book version, which is worse. Like we didn't get 10 years of a DCEU that ended hopeful and was the true DCEU,
And then we went
and
dark.
then they went into an Injustice route.
Yeah, you
They
can't
went
put a
straight
spin on
from-
something that doesn't exist yet. Like
Right.
that's
exactly,
not how this
and
works.
that's I think what the problem is because we haven't had a cohesive Justice League style universe.
No.
So we're going right into a darker universe, which will appeal to people. I like it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to get that mass appeal that Warner Brothers wanted.
I don't know what Warner Brothers wanted. I think Warner Brothers didn't really care. Like that's the thing is this is so
No,
much.
they wanted money.
This is Zack Snyder's movie. Like I think through and through, there's so much of his DNA in this movie, and for me, it was Warner Brothers going like, "We trust you. Do whatever you need to do." Like, because
exactly
the
what it
fact is, like, I didn't see the Ultimate Edition, but based on what we did get from at least the theatrical version that I saw. It's sowing a lot of seeds. It's setting a lot of stuff up, and of course, knowing that Justice League 2 and 3 were going to be the next things, and it was like cramming Wonder Woman in this movie and having all this stuff happen, killing Superman at the end. It was like there's a lot in here that is setting up. Like he is clearly the architect of the entire plan.
Yeah.
And it's like
The Ultimate Edition's biggest changes, which do help make this a
what are
solid
they?
movie. So the first half of the movie doesn't even involve Superman and Batman generally. A lot of the Ultimate Edition's additions are we get to see Clark being a detective and actually following the trail to Batman as opposed to just showing up and fighting against Batman.
Okay.
We get to see Batman interacting with Wonder Woman early.
oh.
So a lot of the intro stuff is just like Clark doing things, trying to figure it out. You basically see Clark be a reporter tracking down the Batman situation. Batman interacts with Wonder Woman a few times early on, so her showing up at the ending isn't completely out of the blue.
That's in
Right.
the theatrical cut. I'm pretty sure.
No, they don't interact to the same levels. No, they
He
don't.
sends her an
Like,
email in the first,
Yeah.
like in the original version.
when he
Well,
gets
the
the
scene
Lex
with
thing,
them at the
he gets the
party,
email.
that's not in the theatrical cut.
Yeah, that's in there.
No.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
I thought
it
wasn't.
Oh no, he's
You
in.
know-
Yeah, they're at the party. Yeah,
That's the thing is like there were the only
she steals
things
it from
that
him. Yeah,
that I could tell weren't in the original cut of this movie where there are like 3 scenes that are 4:3 instead of.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to give you. I got the differences
It's
right
like
here.
why
God.
this again?
I'm looking up
He
the
loves that
official ones because
4-3.
He sure does.
it's hard to remember this late in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's
I would be very interested in like a list of scenes that were added or like removed or whatever.
The extended cut is additional minutes added to the Africa subplot. Main change here is the fact that we're given knowledge that the cameraman hanging out is
That
in
makes
fact
sense.
Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
That's where it does get conferred to this one. Superman being super, the numerous scenes are added for Clark Kent, helped paint a picture of his life in the film better.
There you go.
That I do know was new and different. That was definitely
Yeah, 'cause he doesn't do
a
much.
lot of the Clark Kent scenes in the beginning are extended and padded out, so
Okay.
you feel like
Okay.
he's a reporter, he has a relationship. Because in the theatrical version, I'm pretty sure
He gets in
we
the
get
tub
to
with
see-
her. We get.
He
Yeah,
gets in the
that's
tub with
definitely
her.
the theatrical
He
part.
argues about Batman with Perry, and then like goes to stop Batman.
Yeah.
Like it's just there's no
Okay.
link to him
I see
figuring
what you're.
that
Yeah,
out.
even in the ultimate cut though, they still because there is the whole plot line that I guess isn't in the theatrical cut of like Clark Kent is trying to write a story about the Batman, and Perry
was-
is stopping him from doing that.
That was
Right,
literally
but
in the original cut. He pitches that idea, gets shot down. Later, Perry says, "You stop," and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then he goes and rips the Batmobile roof off, and that's like the next scene
Yes,
of Superman.
yes, that's right.
So like there's no connection. You're like, wait, you want to
Gotcha.
do a story and then kill Batman? What the
Yeah.
hell? Building the universe is a lot of universe stuff, like the Steppenwolf scene at the ending.
Yeah.
There's a Steppenwolf
Yeah, I
scene
do remember
was
that.
not
altered
in the
being
original one, I
new.
don't think.
I hadn't
Yeah.
seen that.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff with Lex Luthor in the prison awaiting trial. The creation of the monster Doomsday is fleshed out. He's jumping around more. We get to see Jennick Halberd, laboratory tech who works at Star Labs. We get to see a lot of those cameos he was working in.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Then miscellaneous. There's more scenes of both Metropolis and Kansas were added in the wake. Yeah, that wake
that's
was taking forever. Also confusing, by the way, because they would cut to Superman's wake with the soldiers, but also
Yeah.
Kansas, and it looks like for just probably to save budget, they were just happening across from each other.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's the same thing, and you kind of be like, "Oh no!" Like in your own brain, you have to like
The army
figure it
showed up
out.
to Clark Kent's funeral.
Right?
What?
Weird.
Yeah, that I remember.
Clark,
'cause
the
I
mountain
was-
scene with his dead father was added in. That wasn't in the
Yeah, I
theatrical
remember
cut.
that not being in the original. There's so many
What?
people I
Yeah.
remember back when the Ultimate Cut came out that were like,
He
it's
has
revolutionary.
he has a talk with his dad.
Yeah, that's in the movie.
No, but like there's a whole scene of him walking up there.
Oh,
like,
okay.
reflecting as he goes.
Because I remember him going
Yeah.
up, walking up the thing, and then he talks about killing all the fucking.
Pretty sure the theatrical is just like, what's Clark doing? Oh, he's on a mountain. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
There's the Batman stealing the kryptonite from Luthor was added. There's a lot added in there to give it more context.
Yeah, we just get like a batarang in there. That was it.
Yeah, no, he's actually
I
going
don't know about
through
a
it,
lot.
seeing it all.
There's like
exploration.
10 seconds leading up to it.
We have the cops into Gotham PD. They're talking about the football scene. Like they get to see the football game of Gotham and Metropolis.
Okay.
The cops are talking. We get to see how bad life in Gotham is and why they would move.
Oh,
Stuff
cool.
like that is added in. So it's a lot of world building that was cut out. But the problem is, and this is why it works as the Ultimate Edition, it gives enough breathing room that we aren't moving from Batarang, fight, Superman rip top off. Because
Yeah.
in the theatrical version, we're just moving from scene to scene. I remember sitting next to you, Sal, in the theatrical version and being like, we are moving so quick. Oh, Wonder Woman's here. What the hell? Like,
No,
Which,
it's true.
by the way, the one like actually good thing, irrefutable, Wonder Woman's theme song is
yeah,
awesome.
Fire.
oh. And I love her
Fantastic.
arrival. Where I still love that joke. She jumps down. I thought she was with you. I thought she was with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Except
which I
Batman
also
would
find
not
a
think
li-
that she was with him.
Yeah, Batman
no,
knows who
exactly,
she is.
'cause he's the
at
one
this
communicating
point.
Yeah.
with it. Yeah.
Why would he say that?
Yeah. Because it's for the trailer.
Unless, in his defense, he's just assuming maybe Superman knows her because there's both.
Yeah,
so
I think
powerful
that's
in
the
this.
implication. But like, you wouldn't say you wouldn't. There's nothing about that
Yeah.
earlier in the
No.
movie that Batman's like, oh, this must be a friend of
Yeah,
Superman.
it's frustrating
no-
because
Yeah,
like it's one of the few moments of levity in the movie, and I like it for that. But also, it doesn't make any sense, so it's frustrating
No.
to enjoy.
I thought
Because they didn't
it-
establish anything. It wasn't like Batman didn't sit there, look at the photo, and be like, "Oh, I wonder
she
if
must
she
be from
knows
Krypton
Superman.
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like wonder if she's also super
Because
powered.
even if
you
she
know?
was,
It's
if
just
she
for the
was,
trailer.
if he thought she was from Krypton, he tried to kill her too.
That's true. That's a good point.
I do what we didn't touch on this. We did touch on Lex and just how much we didn't like it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it one moment. The cave troll in the room. It's
my
even
favorite
worse
guy.
in the Ultimate Edition, Sal.
Yeah, 'cause
we get full body scenes with like lighting on it and stuff like that. It looks
He gets spikes
terrible
after he gets blown up by
eventually. Yeah, he gets spikes, and they look really stupid. Like he looks really bad.
I'm not against him as a monster that they have to fight. I don't. It's like the Jimmy Olsen
so
thing.
lame.
Why did you call it Doomsday?
Yeah. Why does it?
could have
why
made
did
it any
need
monster.
Lex's blood? What was that about?
I don't remember. I don't think they really talk about it. It's just
No, I
need
don't
to
think so
use my
either. 'Cause
blood.
it's just supposed to be a deformity.
Oh no, it needs to. The computer.
He's
says
gonna make a
something about-
deformity.
Yeah, the computer says that the computer said something.
It's lacking genetic material
Yeah.
from General Zod, is what it
Right,
says.
right.
So he's giving because General Zod doesn't have blood.
right.
So
So
this
he's
is
giving it
Superboy
blood.
in the.
Yeah, it's their
Yeah.
version of Superboy's, basically.
There we go.
Why?
That's so stupid.
What if that was it? What if that was Superboy? What if Con-El instead
Oh
of
my
Doomsday
God.
was Con-El and he just fights them? You fling him over, and then you do an end credit scene where he gets up, and then we're like, that's awesome. You just introduced Superboy, and he fought Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
Right.
But yes, I do love the intro of Wonder Woman. She jumps down, she blocks the thing, leaps in.
More electric guitar.
So epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Film
guitar.
colors.
It's like a.
Is it not?
No, it's like a really awesome like electric violin or something like that. Like it's
Yeah.
Cool.
yeah, no, it's even
Yeah,
cooler.
it's so awesome.
I think it's by Tina Guo, because my wife is a big fan. But like, yeah, it's
The
super
problem,
dope.
the problem with that's one of the issues that ruins the Joss Whedon cut of Justice League, because Junkie XL did the soundtrack for this.
Yeah.
He was one of the guys removed from the Joss Whedon version of the Justice League.
yeah.
Like, the problem with this is there is a lot of good things in here. And it became such a meme because the MCU stands wanted to attack it, combined with there being a lot of we need to just ignore these nitpicks. But when you add up the nitpicks, they all add up. And that's the
Yeah.
problem. The nitpicks added up, it turned into a meme, and then the MCU fans jumped on and attacked it. So regardless of there being a solid movie in here with inherent problems, such as characters not acting like they're supposed to and stuff like that, and characters being thrown away like Jimmy Olsen and Doomsday, there's a lot of good stuff in here. And
Superman.
WB horribly course corrected and went in the Joss Whedon route to just try and make an MCU movie. And they threw out to do that. They even threw out what did work.
I think they also the big failing, or maybe one of the big like problems, is that there was too much planning, because as a result, the movie isn't just a movie like by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It isn't just like telling one story; it's telling like six
a
stories and
movie,
also setting up.
It's
and
kind of
it's
like
a
the Amazing
prequel.
Spider-Man 2 problem.
Yeah, it's got.
They're trying to do too much at once.
That's right. That's right.
It's got the
Like, why
Doctor
Felicia
Strange
in
and the
that movie?
Multiverse of Madness problem.
Oh no!
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Still one of my favorite on-screen Batmans, though. Like she's
Yeah, everything Batman did, and that was great. I love
Because
it.
Yeah.
this whole Batwatch thing, I hadn't seen Ben Affleck's Batman since I guess since Zack Snyder's Justice League came out.
right,
But,
right.
I remember because you guys both were like, Ben Affleck's Batman, pretty good. And every time y'all said that, I was like, because I was just remembering the movies he was in. But like
Yeah.
watching him in this movie, yeah, Ben Affleck is like he looks great as Batman.
Right?
He does
Yeah.
a pretty solid job. I would have loved to have seen his Batman movie, maybe with a
too.
little less violence and
Brandings?
killing and branding. But
So
the
silly.
branding's the only real out of character thing that I'm like, that just doesn't.
That's
make
the thing. I was like,
sense.
that's just so like deliberately grimdark for no reason. Like it's already
Yeah.
Batman. He's already breaking people's bones. Does he also need to have like a tensionless heater on his bat belt that makes bat brands? And then he like it's bad enough we see it like early on. We're like he's branding people. Whoa! But then he goes to Lex Luthor. He's like, I'm gonna brand you.
it's like,
I thought it
Batman,
was over.
Calm
I thought it was
down.
over. And then
Yeah.
I saw that.
And he's like, Nah, I'm
So-
not gonna brand you. And I'm like, what?
I think across the board, I really enjoyed this movie, and I will say, getting context from the Zack Snyder's Justice League and the movies he was going to make, this does work a lot better. And I do feel like if they had let him make everything, this may have been in the end redeemed by a lot of people. But he didn't get to finish everything, so we literally it's the Amazing Spider-Man 2 problem.
Yeah.
You started setting up a lot of things, and the same thing in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it doesn't come to fruition.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's why you shouldn't do that in your movies. Because
Oh, I agree 100%. I literally said he should have just done a Batman movie, then
Yeah.
a Wonder Woman movie,
Yeah.
then we did Justice League
Yeah.
or Batman v
It would have been
Superman.
harder
That's
to
what it should have been.
dismiss. It would have been harder to dismiss, right? Because like Batman v Superman, okay, none of that worked. And now as a result,
Right.
you don't have a Batman Superman. You don't have a Batman movie. You don't have a Man of Steel sequel. You don't have a Wonder Woman movie. Like all these things get thrown
Yeah.
away. We did get a Wonder Woman movie, thankfully, but like, if you had just been like, no, it's going to be Man of Steel, Batman, Wonder Woman, Man of Steel 2, just like Batman vs Superman, Justice League, like then it's like, oh man, well there's already like 6 movies behind me, but
Yeah. No, it would have been because the reason why the MCU gets away with terrible movies, and look, I don't care how big of a fan of the MCU you are. There's like 40 freaking movies and like 20 shows at this point. There are bad moments in the MCU.
Yeah,
sure.
But whenever we get a bad one, we give it a pass because we know what they're building for as a whole.
or
It's
we're
also
like,
like-
what are you doing? What is this? Why is it so bad?
It's also, I feel like across the board with the MCU at least, every movie, even going down to like the stinkers, like
Yeah.
I don't think it's an unpopular opinion to say that Thor: The Dark World is not the best.
Everyone's
but it's
favorite.
still like it's a competently made movie. Like most of the time, it's a studio that knows what they're doing in terms of
Yeah.
making movies. So
Right.
Yeah.
You can't argue that McDonald's knows how to make a hamburger.
Right,
It might
exactly.
not be great, but it is still
Yeah.
technically a burger. And it has all the conveyance. It has pickles on it. You're done. Here you go.
Yeah.
Like it's not like this is
I
barely
eat
even a movie.
McDonald's once a week to make sure that my body is used to junk food, and I also love it, so whatever.
Yeah.
But I've got stinkers and I got good ones, but across the board, I know what it's supposed to be.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're
you
not
got a formula and it
surprised.
works. And
Yeah,
that's the
that's true.
problem is when you think you have a formula at movie 1, you don't. So you can't.
Right.
Yeah.
And BVS is since this is Batwatch, I will also say as a Batman movie, not great, but a lot of cool Batman stuff in it. Like I really enjoyed the base and Alfred and the car and the suit and all the accoutrements that make
This Batman would have been great. I would have been on board if we just kept going with this Batman.
Would have been okay with it
and
too.
Robert Pattinson's Batman could still turn into this Batman because that was the original plan. Like originally, it was going to be Ben Affleck.
I don't want
then they
that.
decided to
Cool.
be.
Start over.
Well, no,
glad.
it's not going to be this. It's not going to be.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, you could see where that vibe was supposed to kind of connect at some point.
Yeah.
Because originally the Batman
The
movie was Ben
Batman,
Affleck.
yes.
Then they decided that the Batman would be a prequel, so
Right.
they were like, well, let's get someone younger because it'd make very little sense for
For an older
40-year-old
Batman to be older than Yeah, I agreed.
So, but anyway, then we got what we got, which is not in line that much anymore, but I still think it would have been great.
Yeah.
The question now is, where do we go here? Do we go to the Batman or do we watch the Justice Leagues? Because I was going to propose an idea live on the air, live on this video.
Okay.
We take 2 weeks off of Batwatch and watch both Justice Leagues.
No.
You know, those
absolutely
are not,
not
Batman movies. He's not he's Batman in them, but that's Batman cameos. That'd be like, well, we're gonna like Iron Watch. We're gonna watch all the Iron Man movies. We gotta watch all the Avengers movies and Captain
Every
America. Like,
MCU movie.
right.
Oh, yeah, because Iron Man's in everything. And that's what I was going to ask, because Batman in those is less of a Batman movie and more of a cameo, because at that point, Ben Affleck was kind of done already. He was not doing as much.
I mean, look at him at the end of the Snyder Cut where he's like 50 pounds underweight and he's like, I don't want to be here, man.
I think there's plenty
So-
of other Batman movies we could watch in terms
Right.
of.
Oh
you
no,
know,
we have
s-
plenty to go through. We also have to go to Lego Batman. So the
Batman.
question
Right.
is, do we
We
want to
could
watch
watch
Justice League,
animated
Lego
ones.
Batman?
I don't want to watch
just
Justice League.
Lego. I'm good with Justice. We're done. I don't want to watch
Yeah,
Justice League
we
anymore.
we talked about
Okay,
Zack
Lego it
Snyder's
is.
Justice League a few months ago, so we don't need
As
to.
we did. If those are wondering, we did do a Snyder Cut review when it
Yeah.
came out, like
talked
5
about
months
that
ago,
already.
and we did the Batman review.
Did we?
A
Yeah, we
month
did.
ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
like a
We
month
loved
ago.
It. It was
So those already exist. Maybe after we've watched 80 other Batman movies. So the next one we should watch
Is Lego.
Here's the vote: Lego or
66.
Batman 66.
Either one. I'm cool with either one.
Both of those will be so much fun to watch.
Agreed.
I think we should.
Agreed.
I think it would be fun to cap off the live action ones, do Batman 66, and then watch what is arguably another Batman 66 movie, being
Right.
Lego Batman.
Yeah, technically a Batman movie. Yeah.
Where the only question is, and this I'm doing this on the air here so that people who want to watch ahead of it with us, since a lot of people won't have watched this one, where can you catch Batman 66?
That's a
at
great
this point?
question, but I assume you
Is it
can.
on
'cause I
HBO Max.
know that
I'm looking.
it used to be.
It's not on
I think
HBO
it's
Max.
used to
Is it on
own it, so-
There's a solid chance it's just on YouTube.
Oh no, it's too big. It's owned by people. Oh yeah, no. Amazon.
It's on Amazon
Okay.
as a D. Okay, you can get it on Prime. We can get it on Prime.
Yeah.
So I'll rent it under my account and just let you guys use it.
oh cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on
That'll-
Prime, YouTube, Apple TV.
Okay, so we have ways to watch it.
Yep.
But it is all purchased. You can't. There's no streaming service for Batman 66 the movie.
No, it's really which is a real shame.
Yeah. But that'll be the next one we watch. Then we'll double back into some of the animated ones and start moving through those because I'm enjoying Batwatch. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a good time.
All right.
But all right, we've already, if you're curious, we've already done the Batman and the Batman in the Justice League Snyder Cut. Those are both already on this channel. I'll add them to this playlist, even though they're older. And I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next time right here on Batwatch.
Woo.